Good morning to one and all. We all have assembled here for the inaugural function of this one-week MHRD Gyan course that is scheduled from 14 to 19 August. This course is meant to disseminate the knowledge in the area of modeling applications in bioprocessing and food quality and safety evaluation. Now, let me move on to the duty that is entrusted to me. On behalf of Guru Nanak Dev University and the Department of Food Science and Technology, I convey my regards and a hearty welcome to the dignitaries which are present here. Our chief guest, Dr. Subodh Kumar, who is Dean, Academic Affairs, who has raised this occasion with his presence here today. Our international resource person, Dr. Dolan, who has come all the way from Michigan State University, USA. He has brought here with him the knowledge and experiences to share with us. Dr. D.S. Sogi, the course coordinator, who has been driving force behind this whole process, and Dr. B.S. Gill, the head of the Department of Food Science and Technology. I would also like to welcome all the participants, both local as well as those who have traveled from far-off places, students and my dear colleagues from the campus who have come to attend this inaugural function. Before we begin with, I request Dr. D.S. Sogi and Dr. Gill to give a floral welcome to Dr. Subodh Kumar. Later on. Firstly, we'll welcome Dr. Dolan. Dr. Subodh Kumar. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. D.S. Sogi to briefly give an introduction about the Gyan program and the guest faculty. Thank you.
Honorable Dean, Academic Affairs, Professor Subodh Kumarji, Resource Person, Dr. Donal, Head of the Department, my colleagues, participants and students, a very good morning to all of you. It is a matter of great pleasure that we are organizing this Gyan program on modeling applications in bioprocessing and food quality / safety evaluation. This program will be held from today 14th up to 19th of August. In this program, we are going to discuss, Dr. Donal will be discussing various aspects of this modeling application. So in the inaugural session, I formally wish to welcome Professor Subodh Kumarji, Dean Academic Affairs of our university. Dr. Subodh Kumar is a great scientist and a senior professor of our university. I appreciate him for sparing his valuable time to preside over this function. His guidance, his moral support encourages us to organize such functions. So I once again, Dr. Subodh, welcome to this function. I welcome Dr. Donal from the Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition, Michigan State University, East Lansing, USA, to this Gyan program. He accepted our invitation to act as a resource person and agreed to visit the GNDU in the month of August, knowingly that this is quite uncomfortable, very hot and humid. So we welcome Dr. Donal to this GNDU, to this program. I welcome Professor Balmeet Singh Gill, head of the department, to this function. He is very cooperative. He has worked with us to make this program successful. So I welcome the faculty members, Professor Hardeep Singh Gujral, Madam Amrit Pal Kaur, Sandeep Sharma, my head computer science, Amit, my colleague Maninder, Dr. Kole, staff members of Food Science and Technology, students and outside participants. Dear friends, Amritsar, I will just a little bit about the Amritsar is a very religious place for the Sikhs. It was established in 1574, and from there, this initially it was started with the. Today you might be visiting the Golden Temple. So the Sarovar of the Golden Temple was the first thing that was created here in Amritsar by the fourth Guru Ramdas ji, and then the Golden Temple, the inner structure was founded by fifth Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And then the gold plating work was done in 1830 by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. So that is one of the important place in Amritsar. All the Dr. Donal and outside participants, they must visit and enjoy that place. Apart from that, we have a lot of other places in Amritsar, like Jallianwala Bagh, where massacre takes place during the British time in 1919, where a lot of more than around 379 people they died in that firing. Apart from that, we have Baga border, we have the Ram Tirth temple, Durgyana temple, Ram Bagh, recently opened Govindgarh Fort. So all these places are might be very attractive for our foreign guests as well as the other part of the India participants. So I wish that their stay here will be quite comfortable. This university was established in 1969 to mark the 500th anniversary of birth anniversary of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the first Guru of Sikhs. And from there, in the short period of time, if you look at some universities very old, so our university is relatively young, but still we are got very good achievements in the field of academics, in the field of sports, in the field of cultural activities, and our is the university which is potential with excellence. This Gyan program is sponsored by Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. So they have started this program in 2015, and the first phase started in January 2016. And till date, around 1,100 courses with us. They will interact with our faculty, research scholars, and also the other participants from the other institutions. So this is quite a good opportunity for the foreign faculty as well as the local faculty and the student to interact with one another. And in the future, it will be help in some collaborative work. So on this, from this Ministry of Human Resource Development has given us an opportunity to organize this function. We are very grateful to them. The Food Science Department, where we are working, it is started in 1994, and we are having a faculty of around 10, and we are doing quite good work in research as well as the teaching. As for the Gyan program in university, there are about 13 Gyan program has been approved, and out of the 13, 3 are from our Food Science and Technology Department. One program has already been completed by Professor Nilpinder Singh, and second is this, and third will be following it. So I welcome all our dignitaries on the dais, our outside participants, my fellow faculty members, teaching, non-teaching staff, research scholars, and the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sogi, for briefing us about Gyan program and also giving a brief introduction about the historical importance of Amritsar as well, which will be useful to the outstation participants. Now I request Dr. Dolan to briefly introduce to our participants and all those who are present here about his university and the scheduled program which is to be held. Dr. Dolan.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Namaste. Aapse milki khushi hui. Yes. So I appreciate all the work that Dr. Sogi did to get me here, and thank you to the department and to the university for having me here, and thanks to all of you for coming here and participating. And I'm very honored to be here. It's my first time in northern India. I've been in Pune and Hyderabad and Secunderabad and Delhi. But I've never been up in North India. And my background is a little different from some other professors, faculty members, because I worked in the food industry for 10 years before I became a professor in 2000. And while I was working for those 10 years in the 1990s, then I was sent here by my company to do some work at mushroom canneries. So I was working as a third-party auditor to make sure that the mushroom canneries in India were exporting the mushrooms safely, and now they were meeting the FDA requirements. So that's a little bit of my background. And now I'm a professor. And yet in what I do as Michigan is on the 42nd latitude, and it is in the United States. It's the second. It produces this. It's the number 2 state producing the most different number of crops in the country. Only California produces more different crops than the state of Michigan. So, for example, the state of Michigan produces 75% of the cherries in the United States, the sweet cherries. So it's a big market, and the blueberries and the potatoes and the dairy. So it's a very big agricultural state, and I know that Punjab area is also very big in agriculture. And then in the state of Michigan, we have, it's 2 parts. So the state of Michigan is a lower peninsula and then an upper peninsula. So it looks like this. You can see it on the map. So it has, so we call it 2 peninsulas. And the capital is Lansing, and then Michigan State University is in East Lansing. So we're right next to the capital. About 200,000 people live in the area. As far as how big is the university, so first of all, the university started in 1855, so a little bit later than the history that Dr. Sogi gave in the 1500s, right? So, of course, the United States is a much younger country. So 1855 was when the Michigan State University started. We have 55,000 students, and of course it's a mixture of the undergraduate and the graduate students. We have over 60 different majors. And we have 4,500 faculty and staff there at Michigan State University. And in my department, in the Department of Food Science and Food Science and Human Nutrition, we have 180 students, and then we have that's 180 undergraduate students and about 35 to 40 graduate students. Our areas of research are in. We have of course, we have the food chemistry, we have the food microbiology, we have the food engineering, and then we have the food safety and toxicology. So those are big areas. And of course, the professors work in different areas there. As far as graduate study goes, you probably know everybody is always having money issues. So it's difficult for professors, for us to get money to support the students. So if you have funding through some scholarships or through some fellowship programs, you can talk to me, and I might be able, either myself or someone else there would consider taking you. But in terms of providing funding, it's very much hit or miss. It depends on whether the professor has gotten funding from the federal proposals, and it's very difficult to do that these days, as you probably know. And now, some other special things in the state of Michigan are we have a cherry festival because we have so many cherries there. It's also the place where Henry Ford, who built the automobile, there's a Henry Ford museum, and there's some fireworks on the lake. And then we have the most area along the coast because when I showed you, this is a peninsula, and this is a peninsula, so all the way around it's water going around. So it's a nice place to live, and we enjoy it very much. Now, as far as the program and what I'll be teaching through this Gyan program, So I'm planning to, the first part will be on the rheology, which is used a lot in quality assurance and also in bioprocessing pipeline design. So as an engineer, I do a lot of that pipeline design to make sure that you're producing the fluid food safely, such as the milk or the vegetable puree for the baby food. And then I'll get into the modeling. So the modeling part of the course, I think, is useful for anybody who has some mathematical models and you have some data. So most people doing research usually have some data and usually have some mathematical models, and I'll help you learn how to best analyze that. So again, that's an overview. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk to you at the break. And I'm very happy to be here and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Dr. Dolan, for giving a nice description of the geographical of the distribution of the Michigan and
Professor Balmeet, Professor Sandeep Sharma, Professor Kohli, other colleagues from the department, students. I, on the behalf of the university, welcome Professor. That is my native language, that is Punjabi Gyan. That is means knowledge. I had never looked into first thing as global initiatives, but always looked into a program which can provide us a knowledge. So today, after hearing Professor Dolan, I am very happy that all the students and the faculty who will participate in the program is having a scientist which is working both at academia, at an industry. And consequently, he can provide you the knowledge at both the fronts. I also wish that the students who had been left in the department, they should be again called. They all should be present in the department and in this program for 4 or 5 days. And they should interact with the President. So it will be a wonderful opportunity for all the students and the faculty to be here. Again, especially for the students, these opportunities, they are relatively rarely available. If the government has made this program, which is read as Global Initiative and Academic Network, and every word of this has its own meaning. And if we go by the meaning of all the 4 words, we can understand how these programs can be with us. I'm looking into the last 2 words, academic network, and I feel that this academic network should not be stopped after the classes or these lectures here in this room, but this network should continue even after that. You should, whatsoever the knowledge you gain from these lectures, that can be reminded again and again by re-looking into or re-going into those lectures, which will be available on the university computers there. And you can read them again whenever you require or whenever you feel that these can be important for you. Not only that, by having inputs from both the industry and also from the academics, you can expand your own vision. And whenever there you feel that this vision is not being explored, you can come back, you can talk to your faculty in the department, you can talk back to Professor Donald. I hope he will always be available even after going back to his own state, that if the need requires, we can just call him and send a mail and can get in touch with him there. So lastly, it is always the students who has to focus on the subjects. And our focus on the subject can provide us lots of opportunities. Sometimes, even a small lecture or even a small part of the lecture which is delivered here, that can change your lives. If you are able to grasp a small part, say, from the industry, he's talking about cherries, you can have your local fruits, you can think about how the knowledge can be transformed into keeping the nutrition or safety of the fruits which are available in Punjab. Now the Punjab is coming up with the number of fruits which were not earlier grown in this area, but now they are being cultivated here. So consequently, you can look into you have a very number of gray areas where you can walk in and you can nurture your own careers there. So with these words, again, I am thankful to Dr. Dolan first that he is visiting the university, and Dr. Sogi and all of you whom I could meet here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Subodh Kumar, for your words of wisdom and encouragement.
Friends from different departments, faculty members, participants and students, good morning to you all. It is my great pleasure to welcome you in the Gyan program at our campus. The Department of Food Science and Technology was established in 1994 with the objective of generating highly skilled manpower to meet the requirements of food processing industry. The MSc program was started in 1994 and after being successful, BTech program was added in 1995. The department also offers research guides leading to PhD degree. The department has 9 faculty members who are promoting scientific temperament along with concern for environment and society among the students. Applications of repute. Various faculty members are recipients of postdoctoral fellowships and they have exposure to different technologies all over the world. The faculty members are also providing consultancy and analytical services to food industry and government welfare programs from time to time. It may be noted that Government of India has put food processing industry in the priority lending list. So government feels this is a thrust area that needs to be developed at a very rapid pace. It has a key role to play in providing access to the increase in value chain, increasing availability of affordable, cheap, nutritious and safe food to the customers. The role of food processing industry is a national faculty, that is Professor Kirak Dolan, who is expert in the field of food engineering, which will be beneficial for the participants and faculty of our department. This Gyan is again a certainly wonderful addition to our 17th Independence Day, which we will be celebrating on 15 August at our campus tomorrow. I thank you all for sharing your valuable time and participating in our Gyan program. I hope that all of you...
Money, then today you have spent millions for us. Thank you all. And kindly join us for a cup of tea outside and we'll again reassemble here at 11:25. So be punctual. Thank you all.
Everything? It's not. Can you hear it now? It's not coming through, is it? It's not coming through like it was. Okay. Hello? 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 Testing? Can you hear it? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 It's coming through? I don't hear anything. Okay. Oh, yeah, there. Okay, good. That's good. Maybe down a little bit. Okay, great. All right. This one's better? Okay, great. Thank you, sirs. Okay. Okay, good morning. And now it's end of the morning. Thank you, Dr. Sogi. Thanks to everyone for coming here. Just a brief comment about what I'm going over. So what I did is I put together just a few things from two different courses. So I teach 3 courses. I teach quality assurance to undergraduates. I teach a fluids course to undergrad seniors in engineering, and then I teach a modeling course to graduate students. So this is only 1 week, right? And those 3 courses, they last 15 weeks each. So I had to choose things that I thought would be helpful for you all in 1 week. So I'm just going to be hitting some highlights to give you a flavor, okay? And so the other thing is, another reason for my coming here is to promote collaboration. So especially if you're doing research, like if you're a graduate student and you're doing research, or you're undergraduate, it doesn't matter. But if you're doing research and you need some assistance in either the rheology, fluids, or modeling, then we can keep in contact. You can send me an email, and I could help you. And I've already worked with other people from other countries, and we published papers together. They collected the data in another country, and they sent it to me, and then I analyzed it and sent it back to them. We presented a poster, and we also published a paper. And of course, we're doing that with Dr. Sogi as well. So this is my purpose. It's not just 1 week, you come listen, and then you forget it. It's to promote your research. That's why, okay? To help you do well in industry and in research. Maturity is the mastery of the basics, right? So to learn the basics, then you can do well. So the first, the definition of rheology, so it's science of deformation and flow of matter. So the person, my former advisor is Dr. Steffi, who wrote the book. And he said that when he was originally writing the book and he gave it to the secretary to type, the software would always change the R to T because the software didn't know what rheology was, and it always put in theology, study of religion, right? So this is rheology. It has to do with the science of deformation and flow of matter. So this is the book I'm using. This book is free online. So if you have your cell phone, you can just look at it right now if you want, okay? It's Dr. Steffi. Dr. Steffi, it's called if you just type in Steffi and go to his website, it's a free download. So you can find the book, and it says it's bioprocessing pipelines, rheology and analysis. It's in English and Spanish, so just download the Spanish one, and you can look at it right now if you want. Okay. And so this is the one that I use for the course. Now let's get to the definition. Okay, that's the force, and then you have a speed, and then you have a distance called h. So those are what we use to define the shear stress and the shear rate. Okay, so the shear stress is going to be the force divided by the plate area. Okay, so the your velocity divided by your distance. So if you look at the units, that's going to be meters. It's going to be per second, reciprocal second, and your shear stress is going to be pascals. So those are the two things that we use to define that. And This is important for pipeline design so that you know how a fluid flows through the pipe. So now we have two kinds of fluids. Well, actually three kinds. But let's start with the first two kinds are Newtonian and non-Newtonian. So this makes a big difference because I'll show you when we'll define viscosity. I'll work on that with you, okay? So first one is I want to talk about, let me show you the different kinds of fluids. We will define viscosity, and actually we use apparent viscosity for non-Newtonian fluids. We define it as your shear stress divided by your shear rate. You see that? All right. So that's your definition is always going to be. We're going to compare the Newtonian drew this one, okay, thank you. I drew this one fluid here, and if you look at the definition of viscosity, it's the ratio of shear stress over shear rate. Well, so we call so this is going to be shear thinning. And there's another term they use for it, which is pseudoplastic. I don't know why, but that's what they use. And so what happens is the viscosity. Now, by the way, so I'm going to give you the model. So we're going to use a power law model. First I'll do shear thinning is right here, okay? So if I do so this is the power law model. Okay, so it says shear stress equals K gamma dot to the N. So if the N is 1, you have Newtonian. So Newtonian is N equal to 1. If the N is less than 1, you have the shear thinning. So this is the N less than 1. So this is N equal to 1. This is N less than 1. Another kind of fluid, which goes like this. This is N greater than 1. Now this is very interesting. So I'll show you when I get a chance. I'll show you on the YouTube. They have a picture of this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want to put that on? Yeah. So I'll show you what this is. And now notice. Look at the slope. The slope here is very low, and then as you go up, it becomes higher and higher and higher. That means as you increase your shear rate, the force becomes greater. So the viscosity becomes greater. So it looks like this. Okay. So this one is very important to anybody who's in the food area because almost all the fruit and vegetable purees are shear thinning. Ketchup, any fruit, any vegetable, tomato, ketchup, peaches, pears, it's all, and starch, well, starch solutions where the starch is below 6% will be this one, shear thinning, like baby foods, soups, all of them are going to be this one. So this is what you need for your, that's how you design your systems, using the shear thinning, okay? Yeah, and then the Newtonian, we can get it up.
On to
The Newtonian fluids are for food are like oil, honey. Almost all of them are Newtonian. So that means if you have a pump and you're pumping them, if you start out with a slow speed and then you increase your speed, the viscosity stays the same. So it's equal no matter what speed. But if you're running a peach puree or a tomato puree, when you start up slow, it's difficult to get started. But after you get started and running faster, then it's less difficult because of the viscosity. Now we look at the others. So the other one is called a shear thickening. So the shear thickening fluids, I'll tell you the two that are of commercial importance. So the number one is anybody who drills for oil or does any drilling in the ground. You have things called bitumen and different kinds of soils. Those soils tend to be the shear thickening. Okay, so what that means is if you run at high speed, it's harder and harder. That's why it's difficult to drill in the ground. So I want everyone to think about quicksand. You know quicksand. Have you seen a movie where somebody is sinking in the you know what I mean by quicksand? So somebody's sinking in the quicksand. If you run up and try and grab the person and try to yank the person out, it's difficult, right? Because the shear rate is very fast, so that means the viscosity went up. But if you take the person and you slowly pull, it's easier because the shear rate is low, so the viscosity is low. Here. Okay? So what this means is if you have a very high shear rate on something that's shear thickening, it will suddenly, the molecules come together like a very strong concrete surface, and it won't give in. Okay, so now let me show you what they did here. And by the way, you can do this at home if you mix up a solution of 20% starch with water. This is in South America, so they're all yelling Spanish. So it's a pool. It's a pool of starch with water. Okay? He's going to run across the pool. That's a fluid. Now watch. Because he's running fast, he's hitting it. So he's hitting it fast. Here it is, right here, watch. Okay, now he's going to stand, and then there's not much shear rate. It's a very low shear rate, so it gives in. Watch. Just like quicksand. Okay? Yeah. So now you see what that's like, okay? But if you, so that's this one, right? If you're up here, okay. So now, what are they doing with this? Well, I just saw an article. Yeah, see, he's floating it. Okay, so let me close this. All right. So I just saw an article, and I have it on here. There's an article where a woman in the United States, in the Air Force, she came up with bulletproof clothing using starch and water. What did she do? So she has 2 layers of this starch solution, and then in between she has Kevlar. So she's got 2 layers of Kevlar, and then the starch solution with water. But I mean, it looks like a solid. Put it together, it's very light. So they're now making clothing, and it stops the bullets. When you get shot, it'll stop the bullets. Why? Because when the bullet hits, the shear rate is extremely high. So that means the viscosity is very high. Right here. Okay, so you're going up here. And that's why. So now they're using this. So when I saw that, I said, now here she's making all this money. I've been studying this now for 20 years, and I didn't see any of that. So this is the difference between an entrepreneurial mindset and somebody who's doing just pure science. So think about that. Okay, now, let's keep going. Okay, any questions on this one? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll draw that for you. Yeah. So I'll draw the Bingham plastic. You have a question? Yeah. Well, the Herschel Bulkley would be a tomato ketchup. The Bingham plastic. Yeah. Yeah, toothpaste, because you have to have an initial yield stress. So. Yeah, good question. So we have the Bingham plastic. You see that one? That's going to be initial yield stress. So that means you have to have an initial yield stress to get it to go. Like toothpaste, when you squeeze it, you have to squeeze. If you only squeeze it a little bit, or if you turn it, it won't move, right? And the same thing with ketchup. If you take ketchup and you have a bottle and you go like this, it won't move, but you have to go like this. Okay. So that's going to define most of the fluids that we're interested in. So let's keep going. Defi free download should come right up. I think it's this one. This one. So I'll give you some examples. Hopefully I didn't get the Spanish one. No. I got Spanish one. He put that first. Okay. I just try again. All right. Yeah, the English. I guess he put the Spanish last, and it came up on the top. So let me get the English. All right. So the question is, what? Let's look at some typical foods so that you can get an idea of which ones are Newtonian, which ones are non-Newtonian, and then for the non-Newtonians, you'd like to see which ones are highly shear thinning and which ones are only moderately shear thinning. Thought it was coming. Huh. What? I just did it before it came, I thought. Yeah. Okay. I know it works because I downloaded it again before it came. Okay, here it is. Yeah. All right. So this will be. Back of the book. Okay. So you'll see this is on page. Yeah. This is on page 138 if you're looking at it. Okay, here it is. So we'll do it's at the end of the book. Okay, so 138. Yep, here it is. Okay, can you see that? Is that clear? All right. So if we look at the top, we're looking at the N. So look at the N, right? So these are all ones. So if you go all the way down to where the cursor is, right here, this is the last non-Newtonian. So you have cream, milk, honey, olive oil, soybean oil, water. Those are your Newtonian. Now we move to the non-Newtonian. And here it is. Non-Newtonian will be... Okay, I'm not... Okay. So we have, as I mentioned, applesauce, baby food. Look at that. The N is 0.3. So the lower the N, the more shear thinning. Okay? So that's very shear thinning, and you have 0.5. You can see that ice cream, chocolate syrup, baby oil, look at hair conditioner. N is 0.19. So that means this one is curving a lot. It's curving very much. Okay, so that means if you increase the shear rate, the viscosity goes down very much. And you can see some of the other ones, hand soap. Okay, so people in the cosmetics industry, they need this too. So you know, if you're studying food, you can also go into cosmetics. They need it, okay? And also pharmaceuticals. That's why this book that Dr. Steffi wrote is called Bioprocessing, because it includes food, pharmaceuticals, and cosmetics. Okay, because they're all fluids, and it also includes a lot of if you're in chemistry industry, chemicals, the same thing. All right, look at fudge and so on. You can see the N values, right? 0.6, and here's 1.18 pasta sauce, pizza sauce, and so on. So they're all listed there. Now, they're also listed with their temperature, and they're listed with their K. So the K value is in the center. You see the K? So the K value is equal to the same as the Newtonian viscosity for Newtonian fluids. Otherwise, it's just your K. So now let me show you the definition of if I take the formula, I can now solve for apparent viscosity using the power law. So then it's going to be K gamma dot to the N minus 1. So the apparent viscosity is simply K gamma dot to the N minus 1. Okay? That's for this, all these lines. All right? Okay. So that's your introduction to just what the fluids are. Now I want to get into a little bit on the, just a second. This is on page 97 shows you some data. Okay, right here. Yeah, let's see if I can get it a little bigger for you. Okay. So this is just like you're in a lab, and I'll show you the data, we'll look at that next. Okay, but I just want to show you what it looks like. So you can see on the left side, you have apparent viscosity, and then you have shear stress on the right side. Okay, so you need to follow which one is which. Okay, so it tells you here. So let's look at the shear stress. So honey and pie filling. Now you already know what honey is. Okay, so let me show you honey. So first we'll look at the honey. The honey shear stress is the triangles. So you follow the triangles, and they go up straight, according to this. That's Newtonian fluid. Then you take that and you convert it to apparent viscosity by dividing this by this, and you get this. K gamma dot N minus 1. So that the honey apparent viscosity is circles. Circles go across like that. And that would be the apparent viscosity is 6 Pascal seconds. Now we look at the pie filling. Pie filling shear stress is right here. Notice it goes up and curves, right? Like that. According to this. So that would be, what would that be? Shear thinning or shear thickening? Which one? It's shear thinning. And I told you, almost all foods, it's very hard to find a food that's shear thickening. So it's usually the food is going to be Newtonian or shear thinning. So this is a shear thinning. Pie filling, because pie filling is a fruit. It's a fruit puree. So then you take it and you take those data and you divide the shear stress by shear rate and you get the apparent viscosity. Right here. Down, down, down like that. And you can see. Okay, so that's telling you. So that's just an example from the lab, all right? Now, any questions about that? Okay, let me... So let's move on to doing some lab data. You notice on all these plots that I drew for you over here, do you see time anywhere? There's no time other, yeah, reciprocal seconds, but that's just it's a rate. But there's no time. There's no seconds, right? So here's what you need to know about this. I'm going to write it right next to it. These are all, everything I'm looking at here is time independent. What is a time-dependent fluid? So this one, I'll say no memory. No memory. And this one has memory. Let me show you what that means. So the first one is and then you have rheopectic where it's going the opposite. So it comes up like this. Now, usually what happens is they go to a constant. So let me explain what we do. When we're in the lab and we're running a test, usually I pour the ketchup or pour it into the cup. And what I do is, oh, by the way, this should be time at constant shear rate. So I usually choose a high shear rate, and I run it at a high shear rate, and I force it to come to a constant right about here. And when I'm done here, and I look at it and I say, okay, it's not changing anymore, then I take it and run this. So I go over here and then run this. Because if you don't do that, then here's what will happen. You'll get something. If you take it here and go directly over here, here's what you get. You get this. So you get this first curve, 1, and you get this coming back, and then you get 2, 3, and then you get 4, and then you get 5, and eventually you get like this. Does anybody know what we call this? Hysteresis. So if you run it and you see this, you cannot get this until this time I got rid of this. Right? And then I start here and go over there. Okay, so that's the concept that you have to think about when you go into the lab. All right? Okay. Now, so are we finishing at 12:30? The P is just the difference. I did this the wrong way, sorry. The This is P1, and this is P2. Then you have a delta P. Okay? So this is going to be your maximum shear stress is going to be delta P R over 2L. And then your shear rate maximum is going to be 3N plus 1 over 4N times 4Q over 5R cubed. And by the way, we always use the inner, so the R is the inner radius. Of the pipe. Okay, so here are my two equations, right? Now, to tell you, why do we have this 3n plus 1 over 4n? What happens if n is equal to 1, it's Newtonian? Then what happens to this? It becomes 1. So then, that's why this is actually shear rate max for Newtonian. This term is called the shear rate correction factor for non-Newtonians. So this is what you need for Newtonian fluid, and then you need this as the shear rate correction factor. So for example, in the book it will show you if your n is 1, and if your n is 0.5 and this is 0.2, then you end up with 1.25 and 2.0. So if you have a highly shear fitting fluid, then the correct. So if you ask, you have to know what is the Q. So the Q is always, this is meters cubed per second. So they know that, right? Or people running factory, they can tell you what the Q is. Less than 10% of this. So what you do is you say shear rate minimum equals 0.1 times shear rate max. So what I'm telling you is, as a person who's working, whether you're in the lab or not, you're going to talk to people. Okay. Let's see. So your pipe sizes, do you use centimeters, right? For what do you use in India? Are you using centimeters for your pipe diameters? Okay. Okay, so I have it right here. In at least you should have this. Oh, it's not showing. Okay. So let's see. Okay, I have it in millimeters. Not yet. Well, I'll tell you the concept as it's coming up. So the concept is the way, and I'm sure it's the same in India, but in the United States, the people who are putting the pipes together and connecting everything, they're concerned about the outside pipe diameter. So they say, I need a 2-inch pipe there, or you probably say, I need a 5-centimeter pipe diameter over there. So go install it, right? So they install it, but that's not the diameter that you need, right? So diameter you need is on this chart, and there should be a chart you can ask them for. So we have a chart in the back of the book, and it's in millimeters and in inches. Okay, so you just go to the millimeter here, sanitary tubing. So for example, if you have a sanitary tubing of here are millimeters down here. Okay, let's say it's 25 millimeter outside diameter, right? Right there. Okay? So there you go. You need to take 22 millimeters for your inside diameter, divide by 2, and that's your R. Okay? So then that's right here. The Q is meters cubed per second. Your N is what you can estimate first. So now you have your shear rate max. And then you just multiply by 1/10. and that's your shear rate minimum. So now you have two shear rate values. You go into the lab with your carrot puree, you pour it in the cup, you put it there. The software should help convert whatever the speed is into the shear rate. So make sure that you run at the highest shear rate so you get the maximum shear rate, so you can tell the people on the floor, okay, now I can tell you here's the K and here's the N. For this fluid, for this shear rate range. Okay, so this is a very practical thing, right? It's not just theory, it's what they really need on the floor, okay? I think that's good enough for this morning, and then in the afternoon, I'll continue and we'll go ahead and look at concentric cylinder viscometry, because that's the most common one, and I'll show you how to run that, and then we'll look at some examples, and then hopefully do some mixer viscometry, those things, okay? Okay, good. Dr. Sogi? Thank you.
So